Now I have tried to play the Shrine of Severus from the Dragon of Icespire Peak using a couple of different systems, Fantasy Age being one of them, but it didn't really work, and there will be spoilers for this little adventure, which isn't really part of the campaign apparently, but you know, the treasure is in a particular place, and yeah, if we can randomize that somehow and give ourselves something to discover, then we can perhaps make it more interesting. And also I shall be using the D6 hack with a party of 4 adventurers, so we'll see how we get on. Now, first level characters, you have 2 orcs per character, plus 1 ogre in the courtyard, and 1 orc atop the northeast tower. So although this is balanced for 5th edition, we shall take that into consideration. So looking at this from an abstract point of view, we're outside the walls here. We've sent our thief to have a good look out. Whisper has a good look round and has discovered that there are 2 orcs per character plus 1 ogre in the courtyard area S2. So around the outside here, and there are 8 orcs also in the courtyard, and there is 1 orc on sentry duty stationed on one of the towers, one of the remaining towers, as most of them are quite ruined. So we have to figure out what we're going to do about getting into the central shrine. Now, if here's the gatehouse, let's say, the door to the central shrine is here, but there is a gap in the wall about here as well, and another gap over there. So there and there maybe. So there's no other way in really, unless we climb onto the roof. Okay. So it's either that door or either of the 2 holes in the wall. And we've got to get through there. Big gap there. Gap there. Could sneak in through that tower there. S4, the southwest tower. This roofless tower has a rubble-filled break in its southeast wall. So most of the walls are 15 feet high, apart from the ruined bits. S5, little remains of this tower. Lying amid the debris is a rusty iron bell that weighs 500 pounds. And that's weird. Oh, right, I get it. Yeah, this is in spoiler territory because the people who took refuge here when their village was under attack melted down their gold in the shape of a bell and hung it in the belfry. The iron bell here is the original bell that's been cast aside. So yeah, S6. The only tower that's intact. And that's the top of it, I guess. So we're going to have to make some changes. So I'm going to hit the story cubes first off to give us some direction. These are the Voyages story cubes. Let's see what they come up with. We've got an axe, a mountain, some germs, either a sheriff's badge or something, or a star, a crown, some glasses, something that's difficult to see, sundown, a tower or city, and water. So from the adventure we can take the idea that somebody on the run hid their treasure here at this abandoned fort, and they had to leave in a hurry, or the fort was overtaken by rampaging baddies, either were-rats previously or these orcs here, and perhaps that person was a king on the run, perhaps from a distant city, So not necessarily from this kingdom. And they hid their treasure, but they weren't able to take it with them. Perhaps they were accosted on the way when they were trying to escape. They were trying to get to the mountains, but they were attacked on the way. Now, in order to find this thing, we need a clue. We need to be able to... you can only see it at sundown. Yeah. It is a magical crown. And when the sun goes down and the first star rises in the sky, the crown will make, I want to say make the sound of the sea, but that sounds strange. Perhaps it was a sea king from a underwater kingdom, a magical underwater kingdom. So perhaps it's made of precious pearls held together by coral, and it makes the sound of the sea when the sun goes down and the first star appears in the night sky. And it is very mucky in this shrine now, because Weirats have lived there, these orcs have lived here, and so it's going to be hard to find this crown, but we know, or we have heard, that it's still rumoured to be somewhere in the shrine. So stepping out from the Shrine of Savras specific plot points and specific details, we can throw these ideas in to create something else, to make it more unexpected, so we don't know what exactly we're going to find. Now the big question is, how are we going to get past these 9 orcs, one of which is on sentry duty on the top of the tower, and an ogre? Now we're going to need some sort of distraction, so I would imagine they might be fairly evenly distributed around the courtyard, the 8 orcs and the ogre, not counting the sentry who is here. Now if we are able to create a distraction and lead most of them over to this side where the sentry is, then perhaps we can sneak in here. And if this is still impassable, which it doesn't look, but 15-foot high wall ruined, we can still sneak in here, try and make it across to this entrance here. So that's what we could do. We can, our conjurer or wizard has magic missile. I tell you what, these are not printer friendly, but never mind. I don't know if there are more printer friendly versions without all the colours. Well, there are in the print book, but in the PDF they're all sort of coloured in, so you might want to, maybe you'd want to photocopy them and use less ink that way, unless these ones in here, no. Yeah, you might want to photocopy the actual physical book rather than print out all that colour. But anyway, that will put our wizard in great danger if you fired a magic missile over here. So what we could do is our our thief could fire, maybe not our thief, someone could fire some flaming arrows, perhaps Curtis, our warrior. Yeah, that sounds... Oh, yeah, the thief's got arrows. Yeah, the thief will do it. The thief will fire some flaming arrows at the corner where the sentry is, and our wizard, Falindale, will cast magic missile at the same corner in order to draw, hopefully, most of these orcs and the ogre over to that side, so we can perhaps sneak in. Perhaps we could sneak in here anyway and hide, and then when that all goes off, we'll sneak round here. Sounds like a plan. Now if we wait until nightfall, we can approach to about 60 feet from the tower without being seen, and then we can launch our attack. So these guys will sneak inside this ruined tower at this corner, opposite to where the sentry is, and these guys will be about here. Now Whisper will roll to make a good shot at the tower to effectively enhance the magic missile attack, to make it really impressive, so they think, what on earth magical business is going on? So we need a 12 or less for Whisper's dexterity. Wow, that's yes, that 11 will do just nicely. And automatically Falindale will cast his magic missile at the same time and hopefully enhance the explosion and really cause some notice. Now I think they'll all be able to hear that because it's going to echo all around the courtyard. So these guys are going to start going off a bit and thinking, what the heck's going on? The ogre, who sort of feels he's in charge, will want to investigate. And these lot will stay out of sight and start heading towards the tower. Meanwhile, can our fighter and cleric approach unseen? They have leather armour, so they're not going to make too much noise. And I think we can try and sneak in from here, heading around to there. It's going to be tricky, but maybe we could take out... No, if we take out an orc, we're going to... Yeah, okay. So we've got Ardnor and Curtis. So I'm going to give them each a dexterity check to try and get by unseen. Otherwise the fight is going to start. So they're going to come running in as the orcs go investigating, finding out what's happening. So let's say the last orc is sort of maybe over here. We can just sneak in perhaps. So say Curtis is going first. That's good. It's less than 11. And Ardnor is going to try and sneak in. His dexterity not great. Oh no, we're in a world of trouble now. So I think in this quadrant we'll be dealing with these two orcs as we try to get in, and our mates will be running around the outside trying to get somewhere useful. So they each have one hit die, so rolling a d6 and adding 1 per level. So we've got this guy on 6 and this guy on 3 hit points, and we're going to try and take them on. Now our warrior is up first, and he tries to roll his dexterity or less to go first. He does not. The orcs go first against him. And what about Ardnor? His dexterity is 9. The orcs both go first. So this orc runs in to attack Curtis, who tries to roll 12 or less to defend himself successfully. And this orc runs in to attack Ardnor. He needs to roll an 11 or less to defend himself. Just 11, that's fine. Okay, now we get a chance to retaliate. Curtis swings his sword, I believe. Well, whatever it is. I think it's a sword. So, swings his sword, trying to get a 12 or less to hit the orc. 11, that's fine. His damage die is d6 plus 1. And that is a 4. So, we chop into the orc with our sword, doing 4 damage as we hack at his right arm. That's his sword arm, so that's not going to be very good for him. Now, Ardnor, he needs to roll 11 or less to hit the orc. 10, good. and his damage die is d6 for his mace type, hammer type thing. Wow, that's a 6. That orc is defeated. Smack. Okay. And in the meantime, the other orc will try to attack Curtis, who tries to defend himself with a 12 or less. Wow, that is not good. And now Curtis takes damage. Now, one hit die monsters can do either d6 minus 1 or 2 points of set damage. So we're going to go for the d6 minus 1. Wish we hadn't. So Curtis loses 4 from his... He'll lose 2 from his shield and 2 more from his armour. So that leaves him with 2 armour less. And the effectiveness of his shield is now 0. Okay. Curtis will try to retaliate. And he hits, scoring less than a 12. d6 plus 1 for his damage die. That is 3. But the orc is still standing. He has 1 hit point left. So, our friend here, Ardnor, is going to charge him with his mace. That is just the right amount, 11 to hit. He rolls a d6 and dispatches the second orc. Our cleric is very, very good at fighting. Now what we're going to do, as our 2 friends are making their way into the tower over here, we're going to drag these orcs inside through the gap in the wall. So, having had a couple of days to think about this before we carry on, our quest is for the Coral Crown, because the king of the merfolk came to shore to meet the land dignitaries many years ago, and his retinue was attacked, and they took refuge at this abandoned shrine where he left or lost his crown. And now the princess is going to be crowned as the new head of state for the merfolk, and they want to do it properly, and they want their crown back. Now, Ardnor's deity has some ties to the sea, and so they tasked him and his friends with trying to find the crown. So now we have entered the side bit of the temple. That leads to the main section of the temple, and we will deviate further, no doubt, from the adventure, Shrine of Severus, by thinking about why the orcs and the ogre haven't entered the temple. Why are they just hanging around outside in the courtyard? Perhaps in the real adventure they do go into the temple sometimes, but in this one they don't. And why is that? Well, I guess it might be because of the influence of the crown. Perhaps it has such magical properties and such regalness of the merfolk that evil monsters are reluctant to go near it, or at least intelligent evil monsters. Anyway, we'll see what turns up as we enter. Now, I'm not using the big book of battle mats for this adventure because my night lighting sort of just glares off it. So if we're looking through here, we've got dungeon events and interior, which might be useful. Events and encounters, we'll go for that. We'll find out what's in this room. So we're getting out our polyhedral dice, and we're going to table Fables 2 in this case. So dungeon events and encounters, 88. That is... An enemy has gotten trapped under a collapsed doorway. Upon seeing the characters, he pleads for help, offering some interesting things in return. Right. Well, the way we could interpret that is that our enemies are the 2 orcs, and perhaps one of them isn't quite dead. So perhaps he pleads with us if we bandage his wounds and heal him up a bit if we can. We've got a cleric after all. He will be of help to us. So, how do we feel about that? Well, we've got him here overwhelmed by our forces of 2 compared to his 1. We could tie him up a bit to make sure he can't run away in a hurry. Yeah, we will try and heal him up, but I don't see what help he can be of it to us. Perhaps he'll help us get out. Yeah, we'll take precautions, but we'll try and help him. So Ardnor is going to cast Cure Light Wounds, and the orc will get d6 minus 1 hit points back. Yep, that's plenty. And now we have to try to roll our wisdom or less to not forget the spell. Oh yeah, that's good. Okay, so he's up and about. We've got him tied on a rope. We are... I think we're going to gag him at the moment and say, look, when you want to say something... Oh gosh, that's not going to make any sense. Well, we'll just stay close to him and stab him if we need to. So we will continue across this room to this door. Now, we don't have our thief with us, which is not ideal because they still might be needed to distract the rest of the orcs, or they might be making their way to the tower over this side to try and come in and help us in a final fight. That's probably what they're doing. That's the kind of short-sighted plan I would have come up with. So I'm going to have a go at this door and see how we get on. Now, one thing I tend to miss quite a bit is the opportunity for roleplay, because it's difficult to do roleplay when you're running your own adventure. So the orc would have pleaded with us, saying, I've got young hands, please, I'm all they've got. I just wanted to make a better life for them and make sure they've got enough food, so please heal me up and let me come along with you, and I'll be back to my young'uns. That's all I'm worried about. So, and you know, our cleric is a good fellow, and he'd certainly say, well, you know, very well, we'll keep a close eye on you, but we are happy to go along with your bargain. And he heals him, brings him back from the brink of death. So we're going back to Table Fables 2, and we're going to find out if this door is locked. So we roll a d8, and that's a 6, so it is locked. So we're going to have to try and break through, and I really wish we had our thief. But one thing is, why has this orc come in with us willingly when the others don't enter? So what's the story about that? And he will probably say, well, this place is rumored to be cursed, and I don't believe in curses. I think it's a load of rubbish. Oh, that's a fair answer. But he would never have uttered that kind of idea in front of his superstitious mates. So how on earth are we going to get through this door? We're going to have to be cunning, and we're going to have to attempt thief stuff, but without being a thief. So with Curtis's dexterity of 11, we'll see how we get on with the tip of an arrow or something, anything he can muster up. It's going to be in a big old lock, so it won't be too fiddly, but we'll go for our dexterity of 11 or less. Oh, that's good. That's very good. So I don't feel I have to justify a low roll like that too much. So he's able to open the door into the main section of the temple, the shrine. So we've lit a torch. This isn't illuminated as it looks here. And we come into the main body of the church. That is the entrance to the shrine from the outside. We don't want to go in there. And we are going to explore this room. So what the deuce is going on in here? Come on, Table Fables 2. What have you got for me this time? 53. Frequent use, poor construction or heavy rains have caused deep potholes to form in the dungeon floor, making for very treacherous footing. So perhaps there's perhaps the belfry above here is a bit ruined and it's letting the rain in, so all this area is quite the water's worn it away, and it's made lots of puddles and stuff, made it very slippery on the stone floor. So we will have to make dexterity checks, I think, to try and get across. So we'll take our little mate with us and try and make it across to this room first, I think, just to quickly check it out. That room has an exit to the outside, as our thief scouted. So Curtis is going to try and roll 11 or less on his dex to not fall over. Oh boy, he hurts himself. I'll think about damage in a minute. What about Ardnor? His dexterity is 9. Oh wow! Yeah, so we both take some damage. Curtis's hit points are currently 10. Ardnor's are 8. I know, like a d6 minus 1 kind of thing. So Curtis takes no damage. And Ardnor takes 4 damage. Wow. So I guess it's not really sensible that armor would protect from that. So his hit points go down to 4, but he will, as he makes it across to the other side, try to heal himself. So he will roll d6 minus 1, that's 5, that's back up to 8, but will he forget the spell? Wisdom, please, 12 or less. He does not forget the spell, he can cast it again. So we come to this door and we roll a d8 in Table Fables 2 to find out what's going on. 2, I think that is open. So I'll make sure. Yeah, 1 to 5 is unlocked. So we open and enter the next room. So let's say that this room has gone a bit weird because it's open to the elements because there is a gap in the wall, and it has gone a bit strange. So going to Table Fables again. Let's find out what's in here. '87. The characters hear thunder and lightning coming from ahead. Wind and rain buffet the characters. 2 elementals of water and air, I've used this before, haven't I, have broken free from their cages and are flying frantically around the room, crashing into walls, whipping off a hurricane-force storm. So we had that in the Temple of the Crocodilith adventure, I think. So there's a couple of elementals in here flying around, causing no end of aggro. So let's say they're not elementals. Let's not use the same thing exactly again as I've used before. Let's say they are restless spirits who are whizzing around in this room in a state of unrest, and I think that's the time for our cleric to step in and do his thing. Now what he has to do is we'll make a wisdom roll, but add the hit dice of the spirits to the roll. But I'll see what he gets and then see how sensible things feel. So let's look for a 12 or less to start. Oh, that's 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 4 less than his wisdom. So we managed to calm. We're not trying to, destroy them or anything. We're just trying to calm these spirits that become not at rest because of perhaps the orc invasion, perhaps the crown has upset them. But our cleric is able to calm them down, and we see that that's the only sort of business going on in this room. So we'll go back to the main entrance and then head to the back part of the shrine. And this could make an emergency exit if we need to. And so we're going to roll some dexterity for our characters again to try and get across the slippery floor and the puddles and such. So Ardnor has a dexterity of 9. I won't worry about whether their leather armour won't hold them back too much, so I won't worry about that. 9 or less. Oh no, he will suffer some damage. And Curtis has dexterity 11. Wow, you are just hating me, this wet floor. Curtis takes 5 damage. Ordnor takes 2. I'm going to try and do some healing as we arrive at this door, which is more of an archway really. So Ordnor will try and heal Curtis by 5, that's nice. And try not to forget that spell. Oh yeah, easily. And he'll try to heal himself by 2, that's not bad. And try not to forget the spell. That is a bang on a 12. So that is, he just remembers to hang on to that spell. So we head into the final section of this shrine, and we'll see what's there. So for this one, I want a bit more possibilities than just an ordinary event or encounter. We might have an item, we might have an enemy. We won't do empty because that will be really dull. So, because the crown's got to be here somehow and somewhere. So that's it now. We'll re-roll. Anything empty we'll re-roll. 18. Event or encounter. Okay. So it's back to a normal event or encounter on this table here. 41. The players stumble across a massive pipe organ. That makes sense. Built into the structure of the dungeon. The instrument is functional and its music will charm anyone who hears it. Wow, we could really mess with these orcs, couldn't we? We will approach, let's say it's here. We will approach the pipe organ with our mate. Wow. Okay, well we need to look for the coral crown. So perhaps it is amongst the workings of the pipe organ. So I will take my oracle from my Geargrind games Kickstarter type thing, and is it in the workings of the pipe organ? No, and well, there is one other room, and that is the belfry. So no, it's not in here, and it's in the belfry. Or it could be in a tomb, but is it in a tomb underneath this thing? Yes. Okay. Well, we've got the pipe organ. All we have to do is use our superb dexterity of 11 for Curtis to try and find the attachment or button that uncovers the tomb. Oh yeah, that'll do. So we find a secret entrance to the hidden tomb where the crown is. So we'll roll on the area contents again to try and spice things up. 14, that is an enemy encounter, page 43. So as well as finding the crown somewhere, which we will, that's different. Okay, I guess they're kind of undead or rats or something. Well, yeah. We need some suitable enemies for beneath an abandoned shrine. I'm thinking something like skeletons. I guess that would make sense, because perhaps they've been invigorated by the presence of the crown. So let's have a think about that. So these, these two coffins in particular look a bit damaged. So let's say not all of these skeletons are full of their bits. So they arise, protecting the crown, which was hidden in here, I would assume. Now, let's say our orc friend is about average, so his everything is 7. So his dexterity is 7. Yeah, he'll go after the skeletons. Curtis' dexterity is 11. He will go before the skeletons. Just. And Ardnor's dexterity is 9. Yeah, he'll go after the skeletons. So Curtis, everybody else, and well, Curtis, skeletons, and everybody else. Right, and we have the rule for the skeletons that edged weapons do half damage, and they are 1 hit die monsters. So that, yeah, let's write down their stats, and we'll get this show on the road. So before our cleric can do any of his smash the undead thing, our warrior will leap over to this skeleton, try to attack by rolling strength of 12 or less, which he does, nicely done, and his damage is d6 plus 1. That is 4 damage. That skeleton has 6 hit points, so he's as our Curtis hacks at his right leg there. Now, unfortunately, it's the skeleton's go, so Curtis has to roll his strength to resist the attack from this one. 12, that is just enough, so he manages to parry this one's blow. I guess the others will... This one will attack Curtis, 12 or less. That is okay, he manages to parry that one's attack. Now this one, I guess one will go for the cleric and one will go for the orc. So the cleric has to roll his strength of 11 or less, and he does not. He takes d6 minus 1 damage, that's a 4. So we can, as it's in combat, take it off his shield and armour. So his shield's down to 0, his armour's down to 2. And does our orc, with his strength of 7, manage to defend himself? No, he does not. d6 minus 1 he takes, and that is 3 damage from his hit points, which are also 7. So he's down to 4. Now our cleric can have a go. So he will roll his wisdom or less to try and turn these undead. Now, yeah, let's make sure we know what we're doing. Banish undead. A priest can spend an action to banish all nearby undead by testing their wisdom and adding the creature's hit die to their roll. So 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm guessing. So we add 4 to this roll and try and get a 12 or less. Well, actually an 8 or less. 9. Yeah, we're trying to go for all of them and we fail. Make sure we've got the rules right. The priest's wisdom, the priest's holy symbol increases their wisdom by 1 when making these rolls. So, yeah, that is enough. So 9, we need an 8, but our wisdom is plus 1, so we managed to banish the skeletons. Undead monsters that are banished by priests must spend all their movement to move as far away from the priest as they can. If they cannot escape, they may be pinned in a corner. In this case, the priest will have to hold them at bay with their holy symbol for as long as the characters are in that particular room. Fleeing undead will not return for many hours, if at all. So, we all know how useful clerics are. So, the skeletons just leg it away from Ardnor. And at that, we will go for the tomb. We will have a look inside, which is where the crown is hidden, and we will try and make our way out. Going back up to the rear section of the temple where we were. And so, Ardnor strikes up a merry tune on the enchanted pipe organ, and all of our friends gather together with the orcs and the skeletons and have a jolly old sing-song. Thank you for watching.